Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on when you're watching this. Welcome to English with Rupert, and this is an extended lesson on using stress patterns when you speak in English. Now, an apology, this was supposed to be a live stream today. YouTube have not updated my settings yet, so I can't do this live, which I was very disappointed about because I was looking forward to chatting with some of my subscribers. But I'm preparing this video exactly as I would have taught it had it been live. So today we are going to look at these things. First of all, I'm going to say a little bit about myself. Then we'll get into the teaching part of the lesson. What is stress? It's got many meanings. Important we're using the right one. Which words are stressed in English? Which words are not stressed? Rhythm in English. Then we'll have some practice and then what you can do next. And one of the things you can do next is join my live Zoom class tomorrow, 14th of July, 2022 at 2 o'clock British time, where we will be looking at pronunciation. And because it's on Zoom, then we really will be able to talk to each other. I will be able to correct your pronunciation if you want to, or you can just join the class to listen. There's no need to participate if you don't want to. But if you are interested in getting my feedback on your speaking skills tomorrow, we will do that. There will be a link in the comments because you need to sign up for the class. So first of all, a bit about me. Now, I'm doing this because I have noticed since I left teaching at the University of Portsmouth in May 2022, I have noticed a lot of people on the internet call themselves experts, but actually they're teaching wrong things. There are some really good people teaching on the internet that I've found, but a lot of people will say, oh yes, I'm an expert, I can do this for you, and actually they're not advanced English speakers themselves. So just so you have a bit of confidence that you're getting a teacher who knows what they're doing. So I was a university lecturer and program lead at the University of Portsmouth. So I was at the University of Portsmouth for 12 years. That's a university in the UK, and for part of that time I was responsible for all English language courses that we provided to degree, masters, PhD students, and also students who hadn't joined the university yet, pre-sessional students. I'm also a researcher, so I have been published, and my main research area is using the internet for teaching English, particularly on mobile phones. And here's another list of a summary of what I've done and what I can do. So general business academic English, ESOL, EFL, EAPs, different types of English teaching. Basically, if there's a type of English language teaching, I've done it. As I said, I'm a university course developer. I can provide study skill support for students, so making sure you're studying in the right way. I've trained teachers to become qualified teachers. I have the highest qualifications, Masters and Delta, and Fellow of the Higher Education Association. That is the accreditation for university teachers. So I'm not saying that just to try and impress you. I just want you to know that when I claim that I know how English works and how to teach, I have some things to back it up. And on the back of that, if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe, because then you will get notifications of when my new videos are coming out. There's a lot of free videos on my channel, and I'm producing more all the time. They're really going to help you if you are learning English for any reason. Let's get on to the topic of our lesson then. So we're talking all about stress. Now, when we say the word stress, often we think of someone who's going through a hard time and they're worried about something. They're really stressed. They're worried. This is not the same meaning. You'll be pleased to know this is not a lesson about how to deal with worries. This is about how we pronounce words. So in English, stress means the strength of sound on words and syllables. The strength of sound on words and syllables. Some words in English are stressed, and some words are not stressed or unstressed. And if a word is or a sound is stressed, it means we say that louder, longer, and with higher tone. If it's unstressed, it's lower, quieter, and quicker, as you will see in the next few minutes. So, for example, the word syllables. Syllables. This word means the individual sounds within a word. So syllables has 3 sounds. Syllables. Now, in most words, only one syllable is stressed. And in this word, it's the first bit. Syllables. Syllables. It's louder. It's longer. It's got a higher tone. How do we know that we should stress the first sound in syllables? Well, the easy way to do it, and let me just get that here, is to use a dictionary. So if you go into the dictionary, you will see, let me highlight for you here, you will see that if you've got a word with more than one sound in it, more than one syllable, one of the syllables has this little line just before the stressed sound. So that indicates to you this sound is going to be stressed. Syllables. And most words in English will only have one stress. There are a few longer words, where there are maybe 4 or 5 syllables, where there can be 2 stresses. But that's not common. So that's how we know where we place the stress on a word. There's a greater challenge, though. There's another challenge in English, which is knowing which words to stress in a sentence, because we don't stress all the words. Some words we don't put any stress on at all. And it's really important to get this right, because if you want to sound fluent or in command of English, you need to use stress in the right way. So let's go to that now. First of all, now, because this is not just me giving you information, I want this to be more like a lesson. I've got something for you to do first. So have a look at this long noun phrase again. And think for yourself, which words or which sounds are stressed in this phrase. I'm not going to read it because that might give away where the stresses are. Think for yourself, where are the stresses in this sentence? And why do you think that is? So I'll just pause for a moment while you think. Where are the stresses in this sentence? Which words are stressed? Which words are not stressed? It can be useful if you say it to yourself. Say it in your mind or say it out loud. If no one's around in the room, you can say it out loud. Even if someone is around in the room, you can say it out loud. We're learning here. It doesn't matter, does it? Okay, so let's see if your answers were the same as mine. So I have highlighted in green the words which are stressed. The strength of sound on words and syllables. The strength of sound on words and syllables. Well done if you got those right. But why? Why those words? There's a very, very good and simple reason. And this is really going to help you if you've not come across this before. If you've watched my short video on stress in English, you will know already. But if you haven't, here it comes. It's to do with content words. Content words are stressed in English. Now, what do I mean by content words? Content words have real meaning. They actually mean something. How do you know if a word has real meaning? Well, it qualifies in one of these categories. You can, if you can touch something, it's real. That's true, isn't it? If you can hear something, it's real. If you can smell something, taste something, it's real. Also, if you can think of something, it's real. So sometimes you have ideas which are, they're not physical, they're what we call abstract, but they're still real. So let's apply that to the words I've highlighted in green. So strength is something to do with force, comes from the word strong. That's a real concept, isn't it? Sound, well, that's something you hear. Words, well, here are some real words in my dictionary. I'm not being paid by Oxford for this video, but Oxford Dictionaries, if you are watching this video, feel free to contribute to the channel. And syllables, well, those are just parts of words. So those are all real things. And a clue here is that these are all nouns. And nouns are always real. Think of any noun you know. It's a real idea. It's a real thing. And these all get stressed. It's not just nouns, though. So verbs in general get stressed because verbs are real things that happen. Adjectives are real because they tell us more about the nouns. They help us understand what the noun is, so those are real too. And adverbs tell us about the way that things happen. So those are all real words. What about the other words? So the other words are, so which words are not stressed? So now we're looking at the words in orange. The other words are all grammar words. Let's listen again to how it's pronounced. The strength of sound on words and syllables. So did you notice with the, of, on, and, they were all lower, they were all quieter, and they were a bit quicker too. And that's going to be important in a minute when I get to talk about rhythm. So these are all grammar words. Now, how do I know they are grammar words? They are definitely not real words. They are just words that we use to connect different parts of a sentence or an utterance. So, for example, the. Have you ever seen a the? Have you ever heard a the singing in the trees? Or have you ever studied the subject, the? No, of course not. This is not a real word. It doesn't have any real meaning. It just connects the sentence together. The same with of. Have you seen an of? Have you seen an on? Well, on tells us where something is, but imagine the word on its own. Here is an on. It's not real. It's not there. It's not a content word. And, well, that links two things together. But again, what's an and? It's just a grammar word. So these are all grammar words. And this is really useful, actually. We have this difference between content words and grammar words. And the content words are the words we give most volume to. And the grammar words we don't give as much volume to, not as much time to. This is really useful when you're listening in English, because if you think about it, which words do you really need to hear in order to understand what someone's saying? Usually it's the content words. Sometimes you can infer the meaning of the grammar just by hearing the content words. So if you know that, then that's really helpful for your listening, because if you're listening to someone speaking really quickly and you miss some of the words, well, the words that you're more likely to hear are the content words, and the words you're less likely to hear are the grammar words. But the words you really need are the grammar words. Sorry, not the grammar words, the content words. So, and what I found with some students is that sometimes they'll come to me and they'll say, I can't hear everything when people are talking quickly. And of course, that's true. That can be a problem. But what sometimes happens is that some of my students get distracted because they missed a word. And because they're spending time thinking that they missed a word, then they miss the next few words and then suddenly they're lost. Whereas if they think to themselves, if I can hear the content words and some of the grammar words, but I miss some of the grammar words, I'll probably still be able to understand everything I need to understand. So it's useful to think like that when you're listening. It can give you a bit more confidence that you're not going to miss something important, because the loud words, the long words, in other words, the stressed words, are the words that you really need to hear. The other words just join things together. So that's a useful thing to know. Okay, let's move on. So that's the difference between words we stress in English and words that we don't stress. So let's practice. So I did say that this would be an interactive lesson. It wouldn't just be me talking. So here's something for you to do. Pause the video if you need to once I've finished talking. I'll give you about 30 seconds just to think for yourselves. But if you need longer, then that's, of course, totally fine. And of course, you've got the power because you control the play button. So which words are stressed in these sentences? So I've taken a real news story. This is from Sri Lanka that's happening today, 13th of July 2022, from BBC News. So again, I'm not going to read them because that will give away where the stress is, but I'm going to stop talking for a few seconds. Read these 3 lines and think to yourself, where do the stresses go in these sentences? Okay, and I'll carry on in about 30 seconds time. So I'm just going to sit here while you think. Just another 10 seconds. So pause the video if you need longer. Okay, so where are the stressed words in these 3 sentences? Let's see if you agreed with me. And here they are. Here are the stressed words. Protesters. Let's just get to the right place on my screen. So, protesters have invaded the president's office. They have entered a meeting room. They are sitting on the president's sofa. So the words in green that are underlined are the words that we would stress. Now, a couple of points here. Firstly, why did I not stress they? Surely they is a real word. They refers to people. This is a grey area in pronunciation. They, of course, refers to real people, but it's what we call a replacement word. It's a pronoun. It's replacing another noun. And most of the time, people will not stress pronouns unless they want to bring attention to that word. And you can stress any word in a sentence if you want to bring particular attention. So if it's important for the listener to hear who entered the meeting room, then I would stress they. I would say they over there have entered a meeting room. The other thing as well, which I'll cover in another session, is at the end of sentences, you tend to go down towards the end. So, for example, with room, even though room is a noun and we stress it, room will start high and quickly go down at the end. So it may not sound quite as stressed as the other words. So anyway, well done if you got them all correct. And don't worry if you didn't, but notice which words were stressed and which words weren't. One more thing. I did not stress have because here have is an auxiliary verb. It's just there to form the present perfect. There's two types of have. There's have when something belongs to you. That's a real verb. And there's have to make the present perfect. In this case, have is strictly a grammatical word. It's simply indicating the tense. Also, I didn't stress are. The verb to be is usually not stressed because the verb to be is not always to provide real meaning. Often the verb to be is to link parts of the sentence together, to introduce a description. And here, are, again, is an auxiliary verb. It's to form the present continuous tense. They are sitting on the president's sofa. So are here just tells us the tense again, so we don't stress that. And if we could chat, then I would answer more questions, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do this live, so sorry I couldn't chat this time. But if we do this again, then we will chat. So that is stress in sentences, but that's not everything you need to know. Let's go on to another important part of English pronunciation, and that is rhythm. And this is something that you may not find in most English textbooks or YouTube videos. There's plenty of advice about stressing words, but rhythm might be new to you. What do I mean by rhythm? Well, this is a summary of what I mean. English speakers, let me highlight it so you know where I am on the screen. English speakers like to make a rhythm when they speak. So a rhythm, so if you imagine music, we have beats. That's a rhythm. It's like a consistent amount of time. And this is what I mentioned in the next bullet point. So they do this by keeping an equal amount of time between the stress sounds in a sentence where possible. And see, I did it there. I kept an equal amount of time between the stress sounds in a sentence where possible. And in order to do this, they may say several grammar words really quickly between the stressed sounds. So to keep that, there are times in English where we have lots of grammar words together. And this is where I find people sometimes can't keep up when they're listening, because to keep that time, we might have to squeeze several words in, because if we have 2 or 3 grammar words together, we don't want to stress any of them, yet we want to keep the timing of the stress between the stresses, and that's when we will actually say a lot of words really quickly. Let's look at some practical examples. Well, let's go back to the 3 sentence words where we were looking at stress. And again, right, this is for you to do. So again, I'm going to pause for about 20 seconds. Pause the video if you need to. Look at these sentences again and think, how do we keep rhythm between the stressed sounds in these sentences? Just think for yourself for a moment and then I'll give you the answer. Okay, pause now if you need more time, because here are the answers. So here I have underlined the stressed syllables in each word, and it's these sounds which we will keep the rhythm between. So you see, each stressed word has 1 stressed syllable. And listen to me saying them, because I'm going to keep an equal amount of time between these underlined stressed sounds. I will say it once, then you repeat it. Okay, can we do that? So, protesters have invaded the president's office. Your turn. Let's do it again. No protesters. Protesters have invaded the president's office. Your turn. How was that? Let's try the next one then. They have entered a meeting room. Your turn. Listen again. They have entered a meeting room. Your turn. And notice again that the room goes down because it's at the end of the sentence, but it's still louder. It's still louder. It's still longer than the grammar words. Okay, final one. They are sitting on the president's sofa. Now notice here, on the gets squashed because I have two grammar words in between my stressed sounds. They are sitting on the president's sofa. Your turn. Listen again. They are sitting on the president's sofa. Try again. How did you find that? I hope you found that was useful. And I hope you found it was natural for you to do that. Now, I know that people from some countries find it quite easy to vary their voice like that. They are sitting on the president's sofa. It's almost like singing. And in some, if you speak certain languages, you'll be doing that in your language already. But there are other languages in the world, and maybe this is yours, where you don't really move your voice up and down at all. You'd say it more like this. They are sitting on the president's sofa. You keep it all together. They are sitting on the president's sofa. Whereas in English, they are sitting on the president's sofa. We go up and down. It's almost like music. Now, if you are struggling with that, you need to do something extra. You need to imagine that you are performing in a concert and you're expected to exaggerate your voice more. If you are from a language like that, you will have to tell yourself that you are saying it in an exaggerated way. And it might feel a bit unnatural to you. It might feel a bit too emotional for you. But when you do that, you are actually speaking in the correct English way. I would advise you perhaps watch some English movies or watch some English news clips on the internet. See if you can listen for this. Listen on purpose for how they go up and down in their speaking. And then record yourself saying it and see if you're going up and down to the same amount. This is really important if you want to sound more native-like in English, but it's also really important if you want to just speak correctly. And because the English listeners will be expecting you to speak in this way, and they will be listening for the meaning in your voice by the way that you use stress in your speaking. So that's stress, that's rhythm. Let's do one final bit of practice. I think I'm going to go over 30 minutes. So if a time is up for you, then skip a few minutes to the end of this video. But if you've got a few more minutes, stay with me because we're going to practice a bit more. So let's practice with a short conversation. We're going to do something called a role play where I will be either person A or person B, and you at home, you be the other person. You be either person A or person B. I'll tell you which ones, which role to take. First of all, look through the whole script. Can you work out which sounds are stressed? So again, I'm going to pause for 20-30 seconds while you think about that. Which words are stressed here? And pause the video if you need longer. Okay, 10 more seconds, so pause the video now if you need more time to think. 5 seconds. And here are the stressed sounds. So, and I've underlined the syllables which are stressed. Let me read the whole thing and then we're going to practice. It's nice to meet you. What are you doing today? And notice I've stressed the word what here because what is the focus of my sentence. What is a grammar word? Sometimes we would not stress it, but we are particularly interested in this word what because that's what the subject is about. And if we're particularly interested in a word, stress it anyway. So, what are you doing today? I'm watching a video on YouTube. Tell me what you have learnt. And have, of course, could have been contracted to you've. So let me show what that would look like. It could be like that. Tell me what you've learned. So in natural conversation, you'd probably say it like that. Tell me what you've learned. And that's why we contract these words, because being grammar words, by contracting them, we can say them faster. So that's how we stress it. Now let's practice. So first of all, I'm going to be A, you're going to be B. So I will say the line for A, and then wherever you are, if you're in your own room or you're watching this walking through a park, or if you're on a bus, if you're brave, you say B, then I will say A, then you say B again. So it'll be like this conversation we're having thousands of kilometers away, but we can still have it thanks to the internet. So here we go. I'll be A, you be B. It's nice to meet you. Your turn. I'm watching a video on YouTube. Well done. Let's change the roles. Okay, now I'm B and you're A. So you go first. I'll give you a second to get ready. Okay, after 3. 1, 2, 3. Your turn. What are you doing today? Tell me what you have learnt. There we go, we did it. So, we've learnt about stress patterns in English, which words are stressed, which words are not stressed, and how to make a correct rhythm when speaking in English. And we've practiced it in individual sentences, and we've practiced in a short conversation. Next steps after this class, I recommend that when you read English, you imagine where the stresses are going to go and where they're not going to go. When you listen to English, listen out for the things I've been speaking about. Which words are stressed, which words are not stressed, and see if you can make a rhythm keeping up with how people speak. Now, I'm not going to promise to you that it's always a perfect rhythm. Sometimes there are just too many sounds to squash in between the stresses, and so we'll lose the rhythm a little bit. But what I'm saying in this lesson is that every native English speaker tries to keep that rhythm if they can. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. And just before we go, let me remind you that this is not the last class I'm holding with you. There we go, that's better. Because tomorrow we have a live pronunciation class on Zoom, and this will be even better because it won't just be me speaking, it will be you speaking too. So if the numbers allow, well, I'll keep us all together for the whole class. If there are larger numbers, I will mix it between sometime in groups, sometimes all together. You can choose to speak. You can choose to speak and get my feedback, or you could just come and listen. and I'll make sure that that happens in the way that you want. So if you come to the class, you're not committed to me correcting your mistakes. I'll only correct them if you want me to. But it'll be great to meet some of you there. The way to join it is to register at Eventbrite. It's free, and you can find the link in the video description below and in the comments. I'll put the link too. So you should find that there now. It's tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 14th of July, 2022, 2 o'clock British time. So if you are watching this video before Thursday, the 14th of July, 2022 at 2 o'clock, please do sign up. If you're watching this video after the 14th of July at 2 o'clock British time, then instead go to my playlist, Speak English Like a Native, and watch the 12 minutes actually, the 12-minute video on pronouncing every sound in English. And that will give you a little taste of what we're doing in the class. Thanks for joining me today. Apologies again that I couldn't chat to you, that I couldn't do this as a full live stream. But I'll get that right for next time. Have a good rest of the day, and I hope to see some of you tomorrow.